Hello! Autumn has officially arrived here in the Pacific Northwest, which means that my squirrel instincts are on high alert because we've had our first frost and I just want to go out and collect all the acorns and chestnuts and forage for all the cool dye stuff, natural dye materials. Also, though, competing with that is the desire to just curl up with a huge pile of blankets because it's cold, and that has made me want to hibernate until June. But here we are, and by the time this video comes out, it will be about November sometime, and deep into that cold weather vibe. To combat that sense of confusion, today I'm going to do a cozy craft and needle felt a bunch of little mushrooms out of wool fiber, and then take those and put them together with some other elements to create a little forest floor wreath. I'm going to make a lot of felted mushrooms, and by a lot I have no idea how many. Hi, I'm Brittany of Textile Indie. Here on YouTube I share projects that I'm working on and tutorials in fiber and textile crafts like spinning, natural dyeing, knitting, basketry, and other things. If you're new here, welcome in. Thanks for joining me today. If you're an old friend, welcome back. I'm glad to have you. Recently, Textile Indie reached 10,000 subscribers, and that number continues to grow, which is so exciting because it's cool to see that my videos are connecting with people and helping others to dive into their creative process and their creative journey in fiber crafts. I love what I do, and I love getting to share these things here on YouTube and on my website, Textile Indie. So thanks for being here and supporting my channel. Now, let's talk mushrooms. About a year ago, I had the opportunity to take a class with Julie Beeler, who is the creator of the Mushroom Atlas, and we took mushrooms from the Pacific Northwest and turned them into a rainbow of beautiful natural dye colors. And as someone that has a hard time eating mushrooms because of the texture, just can't get on board with it, I was really pleasantly surprised to find some way that I could connect with these amazing little organisms and appreciate not only what they do for the forest and for the natural world, but also ways that you can forage them and use them in art, whether that is cooking or in this case, natural dyeing. And since I'm not a big fan of the cooking of mushrooms, I'll go with the natural dyeing side of the mushroom. In the inspiration of pursuing mushroom natural dyes, I've kind of fallen in love with the motif of mushrooms, and I'm not the only one. I'm seeing this all over Pinterest. Granted, the algorithm is probably giving me what I want to see. I came across a wreath design using miniature little hand-molded clay mushrooms, but I wanted to create it in the materials and in the medium that I know and love. So I want to take some wool fiber, mix some colors, and create a variety of different mushroom shapes, and then take these and maybe some fake leaves and some moss and some other elements and put them onto a wreath form to create or represent kind of a forest floor scene. The structure of my wreath is going to be round reed scraps from my basket projects, and I've been collecting bits of these and did a couple test wreaths, these in different sizes. I think I want to do something slightly larger than this, and then once it's all coiled up, I'm going to allow it to dry and then stain it with a dark stain so that it is has a nice woodsy bark kind of foundation for my wreath. I'm not going to go quite as dark as this, maybe something this dark. So because that needs to dry and then I'm going to stain it and the stain will need to dry, I'm going to set up my wreath form first as my first step. The materials and tools that I've pulled together that I am fairly sure I'm going to need. So I have collected all of these wools kind of in the earthy tones, some cinnamon, some kind of oranges, black, taupe, gray, dark brown, charcoal, and then my collection of needle felting needles. Foam, this I can use to have as a soft surface that I can needle felt into, so I'm not stabbing my table or myself in the process, and have something that will catch the end of the needle so I don't break anything. So for this wreath, I need to get the reed damp because it's pretty brittle. I have already formed these guys, but I want to use this reed to make a slightly larger wreath, so I have more structure to work over. Getting my foundation here, that's feeling pretty good. I like this size, so I'm gonna keep building this guy, continue twisting new lengths around this foundation until I've built it up to the thickness that I want. I need to get this to be more sturdy because right now it's very squishable, and also I need it a lot thicker for balance and just visual appeal. So I'm gonna go digging around for more scrap round reed and then continue to add to this guy. As far as the weight of this wreath goes and the overall look, I'm kind of guesstimating and just playing along with the reed and how it naturally is wrapping on the form that or the foundation that I created with that first piece. And I'm mostly happy with how this is working out. I think I'm going to do a few more wraps to just make sure this is nice and tight. And it's still squishable right now, but that's going to change once the reed dries. Right now it's really flexible and malleable. As it dries, it will stiffen up a bit. So I'm going to take just a single piece now and tuck it in somewhere in here, and then do some wraps that are a little bit closer together to try to hold all of this, kind of a whip stitch, to hold all of the layers together, because there's some gapping and some looseness in how this is wrapped, and I don't want anything falling apart. But I just discovered one piece at a time was not going fast enough for me. I have a lot of mushrooms to create today and need to get moving on the needle felting. So I was like, I'm gonna do bundles of 6 pieces at a time or so and see if I can build the structure up a little bit more. And I did, so I'm glad I switched to that. You know, I think I'm happy with this. This needs to dry, and I need to stain it, and I need to build on this as soon as possible. In order to do that, this needs to dry in the next 2 hours. Set up my box fan and the wreath behind it against the table to dry it out, expedite the process. I am going to go set up to make some mushrooms. I'm so excited. I think mushrooms are so cute, and needle felted mushrooms just sound like, oh, like little baby animals, but little baby mushrooms. I'm stoked. Let's go do this. It is mushroom making time. Woohoo! I'm a little nervous. I've not needle felted a mushroom, and I really want them to turn out. Oh, little coffee pump up. Start with the mushroom cap because that sounds exciting. So I'm going to start out with, this is gonna be interesting, a little lump. I'm going to start, nope, this isn't going to work. Excuse me while I kick Phoebe out of the studio. Phoebe has been booted. She's downstairs, she's warm, she's fed, she's loved. Back to mushrooms. Okay, little ball for mushroom top. If you are going to be needle felting anytime soon, needle felting safety. When you're stabbing, keep your hand out of the way. So if you're stabbing with your right hand, keep your left hand away from where you are working and stab straight up and down. Or if you're going to stab at an angle like I'm doing here, just try to keep your hand away from where you're working. Hey, this is working pretty well. Now, do I want a fluffy top or a more firm top? I'm going to start building the point where the stem is going to sit in. So stabbing in the center there, and then fluffing in the sides a bit. Boy, it's so easy to zone out and just go into a Zen mind state of like just creative flow. The goal here is to make something that's semi-firm. It doesn't have to be rock hard. I'm making this up as I go, so it's whatever I want it to be. But typically when you're needle felting, depending on the texture that you're going for, if you want something that looks a little bit more firm, you needle felt more so that the felt ends up more dense. If you want it more fluffy, then you needle felt less, and you just kind of put wisps over the top. I think I'm gonna try to get the sides nice and firm and then the top kind of wispy and cloud-like. I'm gonna make this stem so I have a piece of fluff here. It's kind of a rectangular shape. I'm gonna roll it up into a little log, and it's a lot longer than I want it to be, but that's going to get condensed down. So I'll needle felt these layers together and then turn, and I'm gonna needle felt and turn every few punches so that I can start to turn this into a cylinder. Right now I'm really wishing I had one of those tools where you have 4 or 5 needles coming out of a handle rather than just working with one. Oh man, my first little mushroom, and this guy is pretty sad. This wasn't exactly what I was envisioning. I mean, obviously I did this in all white, so if I added color, it'd probably look a little bit different. Let's just try it. But I think that I really need to go a little bit firmer because this is so much fluffier. I think now that I have one little sad fungi friend, I'm going to go do my research now and explore some mushroom images. I have some in my head, but get a little bit more of a picture of what it is that I'm going for. I like how the stem of this guy turned out pretty well. It ended up being cylindrical in the end. I just had to keep going. And then this little foot for the base so that it can sit on the wreath. I like that kind of concept. Maybe I'll add a little bit of dark wool down here to add like a foot. This mushroom cap, I should have probably gone a little bit more dense with my needle felting. So I'm going to try that a little bit more. Could just pull the stem off entirely, add some more color to it, and go from there. I'm on the right track. I found some images on Pinterest. I printed them out as reference. This artist created some actual mushrooms from felt, so I really like being able to see just kind of the different kinds. And then these are some wreath inspirations, and I'll put those Pinterest pins in the description below so you can see their source. I'm on the right track. I just need to keep working away at adding in colors and texture and just trusting the process and my creativity as I go. I kind of jumped ahead of myself as far as being like, oh no, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going to get some color into this guy, and I layer this on top of the structure that I formed, and then see about putting the two pieces back together, the stem and the cap. Okay, that's looking a lot cuter with color there. It just differentiates a bit. So now, make a little space for this, then punch the top of this guy in here. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit of brown here at the bottom, just to imitate some soil hanging off. Let's call this mushroom done. It's pretty cute. I'm gonna mix these guys together and try to kind of mimic a chanterelle color.
I could sit in this chair for 1,000 years and watch the woods consume the neighborhood, watch the ambitions come and go, surround me and engulf me. We could ditch the TV and spend a little more time reading books and singing songs on the porch, sit here watching the daylight wane, leaving little trace and even less memory. I just want to be still.
I want to have like 12 to 14, maybe even 16 mushrooms on my wreath, especially since it's so large. This is gonna take a while.
Free of these things that are weighing heavy on me, that keep me from doing or going on knowing the sun comes up, I go back to sleep. In our so-called liberation of self, we have only bound the shackles more tightly. Free up your mind and start thinking a good thought. Free your mind and be still. Free your mind and be still. Free your mind and be still, and be still. Time has brought us up to this point, it will carry us far beyond it until we are nothing. Sometimes I feel like we're just words on a page. Close your eyes and be still. Close your eyes and be still. Close your eyes and be still, and be still.
Look at this little guy. He's so cute. Ah, they're turning out so nicely. Check out all of the different mushrooms. So many different colors, and I tried to do some mix of different styles. That's why I have a lot of different kinds here. Play with color and yeah, styles. Anywho, pretty happy with how these turning out, and hopeful that this wreath ends up looking really cute. I just want to invite you to like this video if you're enjoying it. It helps spread it to other folks who like craft projects and fiber arts. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and the bell so you get notified whenever I put out a new video. It's a great help to my channel and helps keep me being able to do this when you do that. So thanks so much for doing that. The wreath is dry. Time to stain it. I stained outside because this stuff is oil-based and it does smell. I think if I wipe it off, it'll be dry enough that I can put stuff on it, and then I'll continue to cure it outside. Oh man, okay. Cutting it kind of close. The end of the day is drawing near very quickly, so I've scrambled together my autumn-themed pieces. I have this terrarium moss that I've had for a while from a failed attempt at terrarium making. Hopefully, this wreath will be a better use for it. All of my beautiful mushrooms here. I'm going to heat up my hot glue gun because I don't have a better solution at the moment of how I'm going to attach everything. If something occurs to me as I'm getting this set up, so be it. But this takes a long time to heat, so I'm gonna get this going. Lay out where I want the mushrooms to go, and then from there, kind of fit the moss and leaves and other things. Layer in. We'll see how this lays out. This is my first one. It really has grown on me. I like how the dark wool down here really does kind of mimic dirt, and I don't know, I feel like it's kind of my firstborn of the mushroom family. So it's cute. Okay, I found a paint. This is black cherry, and I think the red of this is going to cancel out some of this green. So if I dab this on like this, it makes it look a little bit more muted, so it's not quite as vivid. And I'm trying to mimic sort of a forest floor look, so I am going for that thick mossy floor that the mushrooms can then poke out of. So I'm going to do the bottom portion of the wreath with some moss, so probably the lower half, maybe a little bit lower than half, and then have these come poking out. Well, here it is. Do the full reveal tomorrow when the lighting is better. This was a really fun project. I had a lot of fun doing the mushrooms. When I did this first little guy, I was a little concerned. I was like, oh boy. I'm really liking how this looks and how they turned out, so I'm really satisfied with that. I liked leaving some of them with a lot of loft and then forming the kind of moss forest floor with some of my collection of horse chestnuts and acorn caps and the terrarium garden moss. I am exhausted and ready to get some dinner for a one-day make. This was very satisfying. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell to get notified whenever I put out a new video. Thank you so much for joining me for this project today. It's a pleasure getting to share the creative process with you here on YouTube. Well, I'm not quite finished. I'm going to share some reveal shots, so be sure to hang out a little bit longer to see those, but this is all for me. So thanks so much for watching and supporting my channel. It means a ton, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks. Bye.